Alright guys, getting right into the workout. Check it out. Today is day 2, pull version A, back, biceps, and traps. Now, something that we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off with a 100 rep set of pull-ups. So, what that means is we're going to be obviously not able to do, well, at least I can't do 100 continuous reps or 100 reps even in multiple sets um, in less than 10 minutes, because that's the goal. You want to get 100 reps in less than 10 minutes. So we're going to be using some way of reducing the weight, and we're just going to be focusing primarily on warming up the back. It's not going to be so much a fatiguing movement. We are going to start to fatigue, but really focus on warming up the back. So we're going to be changing our grip position throughout the movement, throughout the reps. And with this, again, we are going to be taking off enough weight so that we can ideally get around 100 reps in 10 minutes. So on this here, what I was doing is just sets of like 10 reps and then taking about a 30-second rest. 10 reps, rest 30. 10, 30, 10, 30. And then every 25 reps or so, I decided to start changing my hand position. Again, just so I could start warming up and targeting different sections of the lat. Now, this is a really good way to start forcing blood into the muscle and just get things loosened up, get things going before we start moving into our heavier exercises. Now, something that again isn't included in this, and this will be what I do before every workout, and here you can see I'm changing my hand position, but something that I do before every workout is dynamic stretching, mobility warm-up, foam rolling. I use a lacrosse ball again to work out any of that fascial issues I'm having, knots, things like that, some scar tissue, basically stuff just to help break down any spots in my back or my arms, shoulders, chest, wherever it's sore. Break that down and just help it recover faster. But yeah, just gonna keep going with this. And with these, really focus again on warming up your back. You're not trying to go to failure. So next movement is going to be a trap bar bent over row. Now this is something that I really like. Excuse me. This is something that I really like as opposed to bent over barbell rows or dumbbell rows. Now with this movement, as you can see, I am a couple of different things here. First, my hand position. My hands are not exactly centered on the bar. They're actually a little further forward from center, and what that does is that forces the weight onto my pinkies and the back of my palm. And when the weight is there, what I can do is I can kind of loosen my front pointer finger, my front two fingers, and really focus on pulling from those pinkies, and that's going to help you engage your lats and really isolate that lower and middle lat, lower back and lower lat. So something else you can see here is I'm treating it almost as a pendlay row. So pausing at the bottom every few reps, catching my breath a little bit, really just letting myself recover and keep moving the weight, keep forcing blood into the muscle. Just bringing my momentum to a complete stop at the bottom. That way I don't swing, I don't rock. As you saw, there was a few reps in there towards the end where I just kind of started pumping them out, but for the most part, we want to stay as controlled as possible. Moving into the next exercise, we are doing bent over T-bar rows. Now with this, huge tip, use 25-pound plates. Don't use 45s. Yeah, you could throw on a couple 45s and bang those out, but if you are using 45-pound plates, the diameter on them is a lot larger, so you're not able to get as large of a range of motion. And I find that when I switch out the 45s for a couple of 25s, I can really get that peak of the movement and really squeeze my center back together. Now, on to the next exercise. what we were supposed to be doing is lat pull downs, but as you can kind of see in the mirror, there was somebody on the lat pull down machine. So what I did was I grabbed a close grip handle and I just went over to a cable machine and just did some close grip pull downs instead. Now with this, ideally again we want to be doing lat pull downs, but this will be close enough. With this movement here, focusing on pulling from my elbows through to my lats. So I'm using wrist wraps, or not wrist wraps, but I'm using straps to prevent using my biceps and forearms as much as possible, and just really isolating my back. Squeezing at the bottom, letting it stretch at the top. Now here's an interesting exercise which I like to do from time to time. I don't know if it has an exact name, but I call it a cable shrug. Cable shrug row. So as you can see, my shoulders are going from forward, where I'm really stretching out my back and stretching out my center back, to pinching my shoulder blades together and then into a shrug. And with that shrug, I'm kind of rowing the cable up so that I can get a little tighter contraction at the peak. I find this to be a really good way of hitting that center and middle back along with the traps. Kind of a section of the muscle that a lot of other exercises you can't hit as easily, but this will just really nail that, and you'll feel muscles that you didn't know you had before. Big thing with that, try not to go too heavy, just focus on the form. Really stretch your elbows forward, stretch your shoulder blades out, and then squeeze, shrug up, and hold it. So then after that, moving into standard barbell shrugs. With this, you'll notice I change my hand position up several times throughout the sets. And basically the reason behind that is simply to change the angle that I'm hitting the muscle. Because the entire point of this is to hit the muscle from as many angles as possible, and just force blood into it as much as possible, get as good a pump as we can, and really just break down that muscle tissue. So next, we're moving into biceps. So we started with just a standing barbell curl, and with this movement, a big key that you want to focus on is stretching and locking out at the bottom. A lot of people on these movements, they will swing the weight up and then just let it fall down. When you do that, you're missing out on half of the rep, and it's generally the most beneficial portion of the rep, the eccentric portion. So as you can see, as I started to fatigue, yes, yes, I'm starting to swing the weight up, but I'm really controlling it on the way down and just really letting it stretch my biceps, lock out at the bottom, get the weight back up, and then just do another forced rep. So after that, we're moving into incline dumbbell alternate curls, or incline dumbbell curls. As you saw, I started with both hands, and then after I started to fatigue, I switched immediately into alternating, and what that does is it just allows me to push a little bit further than I would if I was trying to do both hands simultaneously, just because each arm is getting a little bit of rest when the other one is working, and again, it just kind of helps you push past failure. Something else you'll notice on both of these exercises, moving into dumbbell hammer curls this time, is I'm using what are called fat grips. And basically what those are is they're just a way of changing things up. You throw them onto barbells, dumbbells, cables, whatever you can fit them on, and they basically increase the grip size so that when you're curling or doing any kind of movement, it's forcing you to really squeeze as hard as possible, and that's just going to really burn out your burn out your forearms. And then it'll also cause you to work your biceps or back if you're doing lat pull downs, whatever muscle group you're targeting, in a slightly different way. So again, just changing things up. Another thing you'll notice is I threw my hoodie on. Started getting a little cold for some reason, and mainly just in my chest and torso, but because all the blood was flowing to my arms. So anyway, after hammer curls, we moved into just some standing reverse grip easy bar curls. with those, just really focusing on the forearms, brachialis, and then that kind of outer head of the bicep. So after that, we have a core circuit, starting with hanging leg raises, about 10, 12, 15 reps, really focusing on keeping our upper body as still as possible, and this will really hit those kind of lower abs. Something that you can do to try and push past failure or just increase the intensity is, as you saw there at the end, I kind of just pumped out a few extra reps. There we go, headphone fell out. But yeah, just kind of pumping them out after I started to fail. And yeah, after back and bicep day, my grip is pretty much shot, so that's the main reason that I ended up having to stop there. But then something you can do with all core exercises, and what you should be doing, is exhaling on the concentric portion of the movement. And what that means is anytime where you're flexing, so here when I'm crunching my side and pulling the weight up, I'm exhaling so that I can get a tighter contraction on my core. Same thing would apply for when you're doing the hanging leg raises. As you're bringing your legs up, exhale as hard as you can. And what that'll do, you can try it right now as you're watching the video. Exhale, and you notice that instantly your core is going to tighten. So that's one thing that you should be doing anytime you're doing a core movement, is exhale whenever you're doing whenever you're flexing that muscle. And that's going to really increase how much you're able to activate it and how much of a pump you can get. So once I finished off with those oblique crunches, just using a 45-pound plate, I move into just regular old planks. So and then this, planking anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. Mainly just really focus on your breathing with this. Again, same thing. Anytime you're doing core, focus on your breathing, and especially with planks. A lot of people will tend to hold their breath, and that's actually counterproductive. You really want to continue your breathing, because that's going to continue flexing, relaxing your core. So your core is constantly going to be contracting, relaxing, and it's just going to be working that much harder as you're in that plank position. But yeah, so pretty quick video today. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of it. And tomorrow we'll be uploading, or I will be uploading the next workout in this series. Again, still trying to figure out a name for it. Thinking kind of like Get Big series. But yeah, new video will be coming tomorrow. It'll be our leg day number 1, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. See ya.